If you've had your VA disability rating for several years, it can be troubling to imagine losing it. Fortunately, there are many rating protections that become available over time.
Hello, we're from CCK Law, the nation's largest veterans law firm and longtime advocates for veterans' rights. In this video, we're going to explain 4 specific rating protections, the 5, 10, 20, and 55-year rules. But before we get started, remember to like this video if you think others should see it. It's important for veterans to know and understand their rights.
First, how can you lose your rating? The most common way is through a routine reevaluation. VA periodically re-examines veterans whose disability is expected to improve. This usually means a C&P exam is scheduled every 2 to 5 years. Of course, this is not the only way to trigger an examination. If you have a C&P exam for a new claim, VA may re-examine your previous conditions at the same time. Basically, any examination is an opportunity for VA to reevaluate your rating, for better or for worse.
And constantly reevaluating a veteran's rating creates opportunities for VA to make mistakes. Losing long-time benefits for even a short period can upend a veteran's life. So this is why these time-based rating protections exist.
The 5-year rule says that VA cannot reduce a veteran's disability rating after 5 years unless there is sustained improvement in the veteran's condition. To change your rating, VA needs to provide substantial medical evidence showing your condition is significantly and permanently improved.
And note that the 5-year period is counted from the last time a rating percentage changed. In other words, if your rating changed from 70 to 50%, the 5-year period starts from when VA assigned that 50% rating.
The 10-year rule states that VA cannot eliminate a rating that has been in place for 10 years or more, even if it improves. VA can still reduce a rating if the requirements that we discussed a moment ago are met, but VA cannot revoke it entirely. Of course, the exception for this is if the claim was found to be based on fraud.
So next, we have the 20-year rule, which says that if you have had a service-connected disability rating for at least 20 years, VA cannot reduce that rating below the lowest level it had during those 20 years. This applies even if your condition improves. The idea behind this rule is that a veteran who has had a disability for 20 years or more might not be in a position in life to add more income just because their medical condition improved a bit.
The 20-year period is calculated from the effective date of the rating decision. The 20-year rule applies even if VA recently granted your rating, as long as the effective date goes back 20 years or more. For example, let's say that you file a claim and it takes 20 years to establish service connection. Your effective date is 20 years earlier, so your rating cannot be reduced even if your condition improves just a year later.
Note that the 20-year rule applies to combined disability ratings too, as long as it's been in effect for at least 20 years. So the 5-year rule makes it much harder to reduce your rating. The 10-year rule keeps your rating from being eliminated even if your condition improves. And the 20-year rule caps how much it can be reduced even if it improves. But the 55-year rule works slightly different.
The 55-year rule is also known as the 55-year-old rule. The rule states that veterans receiving VA disability benefits are exempt from periodic re-examinations once they reach the age of 55. However, there are other ways VA may examine you. For example, regulations may require exams in some situations, like for certain cancers. But by blocking routine re-examinations, the 55-year rule blocks many of the circumstances in which you'd have to be reduced.
So those are the 4 time-related protections. But what can you do to make sure you get them? First, remember to collect evidence that your disability is continuing to impact your life year after year. Go to all required medical appointments, take all prescribed medications, and make sure to keep your doctors informed about how your medical condition is affecting your daily life.
If VA has reason to believe they can reduce or revoke your rating, VA must first provide you with notice. You will have 30 days to request a hearing if desired and 60 days to submit new evidence to counter the reduction. In this case, your medical evidence may be extremely valuable.
And if VA still changes your rating, you have the right to appeal. Appeals can be very challenging, but you don't have to do them alone. At CCK, we have represented over 12,000 veterans and their dependents before VA. So visit our website today to get a free case evaluation.
Remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel to stay up to date on the latest VA disability news and information. Take care.